Anyway, let's start dealing with the issues for court today.
Yes.
Let's begin with the murder which happened at Kaswa Millennium City. That case has been in court for some time now,
Yes,
right?
it's been in court for a while.
And what's been happening in that case?
Okay, so yesterday, Benlord Ababio, the self-styled chief, who is said to be the mastermind or who is said to be the killer, allegedly, of the military officer in question, was in court. And the primary function of his appearance in court was to the effect that he wants his temporal freedom by way of asking the court to grant him bail. All this while he's being in lawful custody. In fact, two accused persons are before the court currently. Benlord Ababio, who is charged with murder, and then one Nana Secretary. The two are facing the count of conspiracy or charge of conspiracy. Both of them have pleaded not guilty. Jury panel is in place for their trial, in fact. And what is currently happening is that the second accused person, Nana Secretary, has been granted bail, but Benlord Ababio is in lawful custody, in fact, is in prison custody. Now, yesterday, his lawyers advanced or made a bail application on his behalf, but the prosecution opposed to that. One of the things that his lawyers indicated to the court was to the effect that, look, the Constitution is clear. Article 14, Article 19 provision, its related provisions stated it clearly, the fundamental rights of an accused person, presumption of innocence until proven otherwise, and all of that. And even though the grant of bail is a discretion that is available to the judge, they think that the court also exercise that discretion in favor of the accused person. He will avail himself to stand trial at all material time. Anytime the court wants him in court, he will be available. But prosecution opposed to that request and said that, look, this accused person that we are dealing with is a notorious land guard in Kaswa and environs, and is a very aggressive person. And that was not all. He's already involved in another incident, and that incident, he was granted bail. And just when he was granted bail in that incident, he's committed another offense, allegedly. But what baffles me was the kind of submission made by the prosecution to the effect that the lawyers did not oppose to that. If you are saying that this is an accused person who is engaging in illegal activities in one way or other, implicating him in the manner in which the submissions were made, and there were no objection, I could reason why yesterday's bail application was flatly refused. Justice Nakizita Kowakwashi said the bail application is refused because the court had already read the submissions filed by the parties in advance. And so, looking at the nature of the case and what is at stake now, the court do not think that exercising discretion by way of granting him bail, the court do not want to do that now. So he should still remain in prison custody until the next 2 weeks, so 26th of February. The matter will be back in court, and the issue of the jury will be discussed again, and then the necessary direction given geared toward the commencement of the trial of Benlord Ababio, the man who was arrested sometime for shooting and killing, allegedly, of a military man at Kaswa Millennium City. Yesterday was in court, but his request for bail was turned down by Justice Kizita Na Kowakwashi, and he'll have to try again next time.
So let's talk about another murder case which happened in the Bono region, Sunyane, Abisim, to be precise. What's been happening with regard to that case?
Yes, this is a matter that anytime you mention this case, Lantam, the manner in which this incident happened and what is at stake, and the kind of thing that prosecution is looking to do or will happen in this case. This is Richard appear on your screen over there, and he's leaving the court premises with one of the investigators who have been bringing him to court every now and then. Yesterday, the case was called before Justice Rubiaiti, and unfortunately, when the matter was called, the jury has already been set. A 7-member jury panel has been set for his trial, but the indication is that the foreman is the leader of the jury, the 7-member, more like the president of the jury. He has indicated by way of writing to the court that he is not available for duty service. As to the exact reasons, it is not clear yet. So the court said if that was the case, then it means that a replacement will have to be found. And the replacement will have to be found if the trial had started already. It is going to be a very problematic one because they will have to re-empanel the jury all over. But the trial is yet to start. So at this particular point in time, the understanding is that there could be a replacement. And just when the court was about to adjourn the case to 27th for the necessary things to be done, another of the juror raises the arm and said that I intend to also submit a letter as to why the court will find that out at the next court sitting. So the issue, and this case has to do with the gentleman in question is said to have killed 2 teenagers, chopped the body into pieces, and stored the body parts in the refrigerator. That is how sad the incident is. So Richard appear on your screen over there, and that's the legal team of the defense trying to put out their case in all of that. So 27th of February, I beg your pardon, this case will be back in court and necessary directions will be given. But Richard Appiah is still in lawful custody.
All right. So let's talk about the cases that we're expecting to come up in the courts today. James Jachikwason, he's still in court.
Yes.
The Attorney General has not filed a nolle prosequi or withdrawn this case from the courts.
Yes.
So James Jachikwason is still standing trial for being
he's still
a dual
standing trial
citizen.
for 5 counts, including perjury and then forgery of official document, allegedly. Yesterday, before leaving the court, I cross-checked from the registry as to whether there has been anything filed in relation to the AG terminating this case or truncating these very charges against James Jachikwason. But that was not the situation. What I did find was to the effect that at the last court sitting, Justice Mary Mami Yenzu allowed or granted prosecution's request to recall the director of passports. And the director of passport was prosecution's 5th witness who testified in the matter. There was a document that he submitted or he tendered in evidence which was incomplete. Prosecution indicated that they have found a completed document, and so they will want to recall him for him to come and tender that in evidence to replace the other one that he tendered that was incomplete. The court granted that. Lawyers of James Jachikwason, led by Chachi Chikata, the Venerable Chachi Chikata, did not oppose, except to say that once they are doing that, there should be the original copy so that we can compare the two and know which one is the original and which one is the photocopy. So Justice Merienzu granted that. They have filed that particular procedure. So today we expect that to happen. But immediately after he tenders in this particular document that we are talking about, one thing is in the mind of the prosecution is to close their case. So the evidence of the prosecution will be closed today, hopefully, based on the indication that we do have, based on the witnesses that they have caught and all of that. So once the prosecution closes its case, one thing is in line. Justice Mary Yenzu at the last court indicated to the parties that once prosecution closes their case, then you have to file your written submissions in relation to submission of no case, which lawyer Chachi Chikata has indicated that they want to raise the issue of no case against James Jachikwason. And so today, once prosecution closes the case, Justice Merienzu will make directive as to what to do. I've seen some instances where immediately prosecution closes their case, the courts will just go out straight to say that, yes, I have listened to all that has transpired so far, and I think that a case has been made for the accused to open his defense straightforward. Or I think that a case has not been made, and so acquitted and discharged. But most often than not, we see written submissions made by the parties, and the court, based on that, also make that determination. But let me say that the issue of submission of no case is mandatory on the court. The court, whether the accused person file any processes or not, the court is required to look at the case of the prosecution at the end of each case and make a determination as to whether the matter should progress from there by way of inviting the accused person to open his defense, or the matter comes to a close at that point if the court think that no prima facie evidence has been established. So these are the things that we should expect from the James GHOne's case before the court today. So this morning, he will be in court with his
All right.
lawyers.
And there is also a case which has been in court for a very long time out till now. We are still not seeing what is happening. Sexy Don Don,
Gucci.
or Gucci Youngster,
Gucci Youngster.
as he's called, who is alleged to have
Yes.
murdered former MP for Ebuakwa, JB Dankwedu.
Yes.
We've been on this case. I mean, he was
Absolutely.
murdered a long time ago. It's been more than 8 years.
Yes. So
And we're still with this case.
February 8th, 2016. So that is 9 years. We are in 9 years and few days. Today's date is 12. So 9 years and 3 days. 9 years and 3 days because the
Wow.
incident happened on the 8th. So
That's a
9
long
years
time.
and 4 days, in fact. 4
And up
days.
till now, still
Yes.
no.
Yesterday,
finality
myself and
has been
Lily
brought to the
were
matter.
going through a post from the wife of the late member of parliament.
Yes,
And
Ivy
I
Hayward
particularly
Mills.
had an issue with the way she herself, the role that she herself played to getting to where we are. Because as a prosecution, one of the ways you prove your case is by witnesses. And witnesses should not be somebody who is, you were told, or it should be a witness with substance. And I think that she's a witness with substance that could have helped the jury clear the doubts in the minds of the jury to be able to come to a firm determination. As we speak, they return a 4-3 verdict in favor of Sexy Dondo, which is a hung jury by the law. So a retrial will have to be carried out. In the case of Gregory Afoko,
That was 4-3.
4-3 in favor.
Saying that he's
not guilty. 4-3.
Three think he's guilty. 4
Yeah.
think he's not guilty.
And that one, based on the punishment available, the law thinks that that cannot be enough to convict an accused or to let an accused person go free. So we have to go again. So the retrial has not started yet, but his lawyers have filed a bail application. The first one that they moved oral bail application, which the court said no, you have to come by way of formal one. They have filed a formal application. So today, before the High Court, Sexy Don Don, Gucci Youngster, Daniel Esiedu will be moved through his lawyers who will be advancing bail application to see whether he will be lucky this time around to have his temporal freedom by way of the court granting him bail to go. And anytime the retrial starts, he'll be back in court. So that is one of the things that we should expect. But the point is that after 9 years, this case is still lingering. And the wife yet, the post indicated that Parliament should rise up, Parliament should play their roles. Speaker, majority leaders, minority leaders, MPs should play their role so that the matter will not go beyond the 10th year. And I can assure you that as for that one, it won't happen, in fact, because a case of this nature, it travels years based on the system and the structure that we have. But in the coming days, we'll be having a conversation on this whole matter about the jury system, and why the jury system has become an albatross on justice delivery. In fact, effective justice delivery, an expeditious one indeed. We'll go through all of that. But in the case of Sexy Dondo this morning, he will be asking the court for bail, and the pleasure of the court will bring it to the fore, and everybody will know whether he's lucky or the court will say that he should still remain in lawful custody for the time being.
All right. So we'll look forward to seeing exactly how all of that plays out in the courts.
Absolutely.
But thank you very much.